Good day and welcome to the channel. In this short video, we are going to demonstrate and explain a really exciting development from Google called NotebookLM. NotebookLM is an artificial intelligent assistant. And when we say assistant, we mean, yes, it's different from the regular Gemini, even though it's based on the Gemini large language model. It's fundamentally different because it only looks at the files and web pages, and videos and documents you give it to analyze. Also, Google says your documents are safe. They won't use them for AI training, for other people's answers. So in this Notebook LM tutorial, we'll show you that you can bring in YouTube videos. You can bring in your own videos, MP4s. You can bring in PowerPoints, your own internal Word documents, from your company or your own research papers. And then the system will synthesize that information and put it into a whole pile of different outputs that you might want. It'll produce text output. Not a surprise there. It can produce tables for you of all of the data that it's found, all of the facts and figures. It can produce a podcast for you, with potentially, if you want, two different presenters, with one person arguing for, one person arguing against, or going through the logic. It can even produce a full video for you, slides, the audio, all of it, all for free. It's really cool. So let's go through a really quick example. Click Create New Notebook. And our sister site is called Issues Labs, and it created a 4-part series on small modular reactors. Who cares? Something kind of dry. Let's go through and select copy link, the first article here, and go to Notebook LM, and we can paste this one right in. Then we can go back Issues Lab again, and let's grab the second one, copy link. I'll just press Shift Enter here to give us a space, and it's going to analyze them. And let's say that's all I want to consider from Issues Lab. So let's get rid of Issues Lab. I've done some searching and I've found this particular YouTube video. And then I'm just going to grab the address at the top here and then go over to Notebook LM, add sources, paste. So far, we've only added web content, but I want to add some local content, something from my own corporate system. So let's go to Add Sources. And you'll see here, I could click upload files, or I can just drag them. I'm just going to drag them. I've got a bunch of PDFs on the topic. Boom, added. It's going through it. Then I'll add another one. And then I'll try to add this PowerPoint, and you'll see there's a bit of a quirk. And I'll try to drop the PowerPoint in here, and it comes up and says, these are the only formats that are supported. No problem. I'll just convert the PowerPoint to one of those formats, which in this case, I'll just save it as a PDF. Now I'll just drag that source on. So strangely, it doesn't support PPTX, but it does support doc files and CSVs. So go figure. But who cares? It's easy enough to convert them. And you can see it's grinding through them right now, doing a basic analysis. But I can also have it go to the internet just by typing in here. So if I look for Darlington SMR, small modular reactor, I could leave it on fast research, but deep research is more interesting. So I'll set it to that. And let's go with business strategy. Now I could have it, by the way, look for this information in my Google Drive. No, it does not hook into OneDrive, which is a disappointment. But if you have your stuff in Google Drive, it can search through that content. Pretty cool. But I'm just going to have it search through the web. Boom. This will take a second, so we'll be right back. It's a few minutes later, and you can see it's completed its deep research, and it's found 20 sources. But better than that, it's already built a summary of all of that. So we could just click import, and it would suck that in, or we can click view up here, and then manually select the sources we want it to consider. So we don't want that one, and I'll click import, and you'll see it'll import the ones that I've selected as sources. Oh, and these are ones it can't get to, by the way, whenever you see that red one. That probably means they're linked in some document that it can't get to. Just to pretty it up, we'll click on the 3 dots and select Remove Failed Sources. And we're really not too sure about this one. Well, I can click on it, and it'll tell me all about it. And then I could even launch it in a separate window. But then I could say, yeah, you know what? I really don't want to include that one in my output. I've also decided I don't want to consider this one or that one, but I don't want to remove them. I just don't want them considered for this particular conversation. So I'm just going to deselect a few of these randomly. You, of course, would know exactly what you're looking for. Now in the chat section, I can ask it any question I want. But instead of going out to the internet, it's only going to look at these sources. Now you can see here, it's given me a few suggested questions. So for the heck of it, I'm going to click on this one. What's safety and modular blah, 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 blah. Produce a text result based purely upon this content that I've selected over here. Now, the most interesting thing here is The references. Every claim it makes is backed up by references. This will hallucinate, in other words, make stuff up, an awful lot less than normal artificial intelligence large language models do, like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, so on and so forth. But let's show you these outputs on the right-hand side here that are really what makes this a star. Now, most of these outputs have a little pencil on them, and that means you can configure it in some way. So let's go to Audio Overview. And in this case, I want not just one person talking, I want two, like a super cool podcast. I can describe more of what I want. In this text box, create for an executive audience of C-suite and board members who are moderately knowledgeable, blah, 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 blah. Have presenter one be skeptical and a bit adversarial. Have presenter two be very knowledgeable about SMRs and safe for blah, blah, blah. You can read it if you want. I'm just going to click generate. And this will take a few minutes and it will spit it out here on the right side. In the studio section, in the interim, let's go to data tables. Data tables was something that wasn't here a few days ago. At least I didn't see it. And what do we want to extract from these sources? I'm just going to leave this blank and have it come up with whatever information it thinks is useful. And let's create an infographic. I'll click on the pencil, focus on the ever increasing need for electricity, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to click generate on this. And let's do a couple of really fun things. Flashcards. Man, this is cool. So helpful for students or executives that have to take questions. How many do you want? Do you want a few? Do you want a lot? Let's leave it on default here. In medium, sure. No, we could get into real details here with what we want, but I'm just going to click generate for fun. And same thing with quiz. And by the way, yes, I'm doing these all at the same time. Let's go to the quiz, click the pencil. Anything here? No, let's just have it create a quiz. Click generate. And because this is going to take a few minutes for the video review, we'll do that as well. Click on video review. Now, by the way, if you just click on video review, it's just going to start it. If you click the pencil, you'll get these options. And I'll put a little table up here explaining what these different visual styles are. I'm going to select classic because I want this to be professional. Let's click on that. And again, I could explain what I want this video to be. So I've pasted in here, focus on a massive increase in the need for electricity, cost effectiveness of SMRs, blah, blah, blah. All right, now let's go back to the top here. Do we want an explainer or a brief? Leave it on explainer. Let's click generate. Okay, while this is generating, let's go through a few of these. So let's start off with the audio.
Welcome to The Debate. The global energy transition. We're really preparing for an explosion in electricity demand, what a lot of us are calling the Great Electrification.
And I'll be arguing that while the ambition is, of course, laudable, the public...
That is exactly what I asked for. Two speakers having to debate. And this thing's 16 minutes long. It's detailed because I asked it to be detailed. It's pretty thorough. Now let's go through the nuclear quiz. So who's a technology developer? I'll just click the first one here. Bingo, that's right, it is GE Hitachi. Then I can go to the next question, and there's hints. It's pretty amazing. Let's move on to the flashcards. So helpful for executives, politicians, students, anybody that needs to commit things to memory. What's the name of the first block? Okay, who cares? Darlington, yay! Which specific model's being done? And I can click on explain if I want more detail, and it'll spew out more information over here. So you get the idea. These snap cards, flashcards, super helpful. Now let's look at the data table. This is neat. This is just a whole bunch of facts that it's been able to extract. And remember, I didn't give it any direction at all. I could have asked it for the legal complications that could come from this kind of technology, and it would have dug into that, but only from these sources over here. And I can change these sources on the fly. So I could select, let's include that one now and remove that one, and then create a quiz, and it would be different. Let's go into the video.
All right, let's get right into it. We are facing a pretty massive energy challenge, right? But the solution might change. The amount of new clean electricity game changer is how they're
This
built.
one's not using
Instead
near
of
as
a
many graphics as I've seen in other ones.
For 7 full days, this reactor can keep its core cool using nothing but the laws of physics. It's a concept called...
Now note, with all of these, there's a share option, so I can email it out to other people. I can also download the content directly. So if I want to pull this down, it'll pop down an MP4 for me. If I forget what I actually asked it to do, I could click this icon and you'll see the prompt. And that's on all of these options in the studio section. Oh, let's go look at the infographic. So this is the first time I've seen it produce an infographic that was in this wide format. landscape. If I wanted, I could have it create another one that's in the more traditional portrait orientation, top to bottom. And let's take a look at the slides it came up with. Pretty impressive. Now again, I could share, I can download, I can play this, but I can also go up here and share the entire notebook with my coworkers, other students, co-authors, whatever. I can add a welcome note, so a little explanation of why they're getting this link. It's not malicious, and I can set the access level. So now let's get on to the limits. In the free tier, which is what I'm using right now, I can produce 3 videos or audios a day, 10 reports, quizzes, flashcards, slide decks. Well, slide decks only 3 a day. Infographic. I mean, this is just awesome for free. But if I want to pay a few dollars, I can get into the pro tier, and you can see it doesn't give you a little bump, it gives you a massive bump. And you might ask when those limits reset. Well, audio and video are on a rolling 24-hour cycle. So if you produced your 3rd video at 2 p.m. on Tuesday, on 2 p.m. Wednesday, you'll be able to produce another one. Most other things cycle at midnight. Now that's for the outputs. Let's talk about the inputs, the sources. This is where it gets super useful. You can upload an entire book. So if you have a textbook in a PDF format, you can pull it in. It will be less than 500,000 words. 200 meg files. YouTube videos where their transcript is 500,000 words. Yeah, I don't think you're going to hit that limit. And even images that are 10 meg in size. That's not total, that's each. Now let's get into the ethics of this and explain that this isn't for cheating. These are research tools. NotebookLM allows you to limit your sources to whatever you want, then synthesize the data into structured outputs in their studio that you can use as a base to work from. And as far as handing this in to a professor or your manager in a company goes, and thinking you don't have to explain where these amazing outputs came from, think again. If they check, you're going to get caught. Google uses something called a SynthID. And what that means is, in addition to having sometimes a little logo on a graphic or on videos, they actually have pixels that humans can't see. Little patterns that are easy for AI tools to pull out and recognize something that was generated by AI, in particular Gemini. And if you think, oh, I'm just going to use the text, Google has, again, a SynthID that Google Labs has worked out that relates to the patterns in the words. So it's not just things like commas and exclamation marks and how many verbs are in the sentence. It's actually looking at the sentence structure and the words and phrases that are used. And every time it detects a pattern, it increments by 1. Now, lots of people will use the same words. So if your SynthID on, say, a 10-page document is, I'm making up a number here, 30, that doesn't mean anything. But if it's 400, yeah, this was written mostly by NotebookLM and Gemini. And how can anybody check? Easy. Just go to gemini.google.com, drag that content in, and ask, hey, was this written by an AI? So you're not going to get away with having this do your work. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with you using NotebookLM to synthesize all this data, produce these outputs, and then present them directly to clients, as long as your company knows that is what you did. In the real world, the company usually doesn't care how you produce something. They just care that you produced it and that it's at the quality they demand. As a student, this is not intended to do the work for you. The golden rule for artificial intelligence use in 2026 is, did the tool help you learn better? Or did it help you avoid learning? So learn the tools because you need them in the real world. You better understand the content as well. NotebookLM is the greatest research assistant ever, but it's your assistant. You still have to do the work. I absolutely love this thing. And I am really surprised at how much Google is giving away for free. That is NotebookLM end to end. So if you found the video useful, big thumbs up would be super appreciated. Subscribe's also appreciated. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can always get a hold of us directly at www.urtech. That's www.urtech.ca. Or you can leave a question or comment below. And if we don't get back to you, somebody else will, because on YouTube, yeah, everybody's got an opinion. Thanks and have a great day. Bye-bye.